I just want to point out how stupid it is to say, wow, you sure criticize things you don't agree with. Like, yeah, because it's not something you agree with. It's like saying you sure are biased with a leftist agenda, sir. Yeah, exactly. Anyway, let's continue.
The judge overseeing Trump's election interference trial has also presided over dozens of trials of the January 6th rioters. In those cases, District Judge Tanya Chutkan has taken a strong stance against efforts to overturn the 2020 election. Now, all eyes are on the federal judge as she prepares to oversee this case. CNN's Randy Kay has more.
She has described the events of January 6th as a violent mob seeking to overthrow the lawfully elected government. District Judge Tanya Chutkan has a reputation as someone who hands down harsh sentences, specifically in cases related to the January 6th rioters.
She's talked about 2024 and the threat that these rioters pose before, during sentences.
As a federal judge in D.C., Chutkan has presided over dozens of criminal cases against alleged January 6th rioters. She has often been outspoken at their sentencing hearings. At a January 22 sentencing...
Yeah, guys, me and the boys at the HasanAbi giveaway. Sorry. Hell yeah, brother. I heard Donald Trump's giving away PlayStation 5s.
hearing for two friends who had gone to the Capitol, Chutkan said, "This wasn't Bill and Ted's excellent adventure." She added, "They came to Washington knowing full well the events of January 6th. Their actions were an assault on the American people." She also called it a violent attempted overthrow of the government that almost succeeded. At the criminal sentencing of another rioter, she said this.
He did not go to the U.S. Capitol out of any love for our country. He went for one man. One man in that sentence would be Donald Trump.
This won't be the first time Chutkan has dealt with a case involving the former president. In November 2021, Chutkan rejected Trump's efforts to block the House Select Committee investigating January 6th from accessing more than 700 pages of records from the White House. In her ruling in that case, she wrote this memorable line: "Presidents are not kings, and plaintiff is not president." Chutkan has called the January 6th violence an assault on American democracy, saying rioters soiled and defaced the halls of the Capitol and showed their contempt for the rule of law. She's repeatedly gone above what prosecutors have requested for convicted rioters' prison sentences. Chutkan has also issued a warning about future political violence at a sentencing hearing in December 2021. It has to be made clear that trying to stop the peaceful transition of power, assaulting law enforcement, is going to be met with certain punishment.
Is bedrock.
Chutkan was born in Kingston, Jamaica. She was appointed by Barack Obama in 2014 and has served as a federal judge since the Senate confirmed her 95-0. Before that, she spent more than a decade working as a public defender after graduating from the University of Pennsylvania Law School. Randy Kay, CNN.
All right, a fascinating look there. Thank you, Randy. Let's bring in former federal prosecutor and author of A Spy in Plain Sight, Lise Wheel. Good morning to you. Thank you so much for joining us. So we know that the next hearing is set for August 28th, where the judge is expected to schedule a trial date. And, you know, we know that the prosecution is pushing for a speedy trial. Trump's defense counsel wants more time, and perhaps they'll try to delay through or past the 2024 election. Will Trump's other cases factor into setting a trial date, and what kind of timeline do you expect here?
Perhaps they may factor into it. I expect a fast track, a rocket docket even. But the judge is going to have to consider the other federal case going on in Mar-a-Lago in Florida.
Isn't it funny how CNN can be telling the truth in situations that you like and lie in others that you don't like? Isn't it funny that Mondo091 has literally spent approximately 0 hours in here actually retaining a singular piece of information that I've ever delivered, considering that I routinely fucking yell at CNN on a regular fucking basis? Is called having media literacy. I also once famously called Jake Tapper a cunt, who he got very offended over and demanded that I apologize to every single CNN news anchor that's a female. Okay? If you've just really been watching today, why don't you just, why do you operate with this assumption? Think about that, dumbass. Think about your fucking donkey brain making this analysis. Think about why your donkey brain immediately made this assertion that I actually do love what CNN is saying here and hate what CNN was saying about Kai Cenat. Why? Why don't you just sit here and retain some of the fucking information like a good boy, okay, instead of immediately making idiotic assertions and trying to get your fucking 15 seconds of goddamn fame here? I know I criticized the CNN coverage on the Kai thing. I know. I did. I haven't even gotten my fucking coverage or my criticisms out on the CNN Trump election conspiracy charges thing yet. The point is, if you come in here and you watch me go through one CNN coverage and make criticisms and then immediately not make criticisms on another thing that CNN is covering, okay? If you make the assertion automatically that like, wow, oh, isn't that crazy? CNN always is like, you're never yelling at CNN when you agree with them and only yelling at it when, you know, they're saying something wrong about someone you know about. Guy is a WoW player. You could disregard every single thing he says. I am also one. It's so fucking stupid. I criticize CNN on a daily fucking basis. On a daily basis. Ben Shapiro responded to your
Let's say,
reactive...
hypothetically, I'm a Barbie girl. Okay, let's even say I'm in a Barbie world. Right, so in this scenario, I would obviously know from personal experience that life in plastic is fantastic. Wouldn't it be reasonable to assume you could brush my hair and undress me literally everywhere? Imagination you can derive from the fundamentals of...
Oh my God. Can't believe Ben Shapiro responded to my Barbie girl coverage.
Florida, which is now set for May. She may want to postpone it until, say, June, July. But on the other hand, if the prosecutors are ready to go, there's only one defendant here, not multiple defendants as there are in the Florida case. This may be a faster case to docket. And last I looked at the criminal justice statute, the speedy trial statute, there's nothing in it that's an exemption for defendants that are too busy or running for president. So it will be set at that August hearing date.
Why would this be a faster case to docket? Do you see this as a much stronger case for the prosecution?
You know, it's not even that, although I do, because this is a much more commonsensical case. We get it, right? I mean, someone's not happy with their election results while in office and they try to overturn that. That makes common sense. I mean, bad common sense, but it makes more common sense than, you know, what are these documents? Was he supposed to have them? Was he not supposed to have them? What was his intent? You know, it's a harder case. But I say that it's a rocket docket, not so much because the prosecution has a stronger case or a more commonsensical case, but just because there's only one defendant. So the judge doesn't have to look at different schedules and whether all the defendants go together or the co-conspirators go together. This is just one person in this indictment. Yes, there are unindicted co-conspirators, but that doesn't matter. So she can set this early. The prosecution's going to be ready. The discovery's going to be ready. Hey, the discovery's pretty much right there in the indictment. It's a 45-page indictment. So the prosecution is ready to hand all that over to the defense. And then at that point, the defense is just going to have to say, we need more time. But for what? You know, once they've been given the materials, they have a reasonable time, but not an extraordinary amount of time. Amara.
You know, we're already seeing one of Trump's attorneys making his rounds on TV arguing that Trump is protected by the First Amendment. Listen to what part of what John Lauro had to say on Thursday.
I've talked a lot about how this
Thank you, Amazon Piss Bottle, for the 10 gifted subs, by the way.
is criminalized First Amendment speech because President Trump, like all of us, has a right to redress grievances, has a right to protest an election that he felt was unfair, has a right to campaign.
Has a right to spark an insurrection after lying routinely to the public about an election being stolen, in spite of every single person in a position of power in his cabinet telling him the exact opposite, which was the truth, which was that the election was not stolen from him. President Donald Trump also has every right to seek legal counsel that will basically tell him exactly what he wants to hear, so that he can inevitably use them as the fall guy. He also has the right to possibly collude with his counsel to utilize the Department of Justice and stop normal electoral processes from coming to a end. I just want to point out how stupid it is to say, wow, you sure criticize things you don't agree with. Like, yeah, because it's not something you agree with. It's like saying you sure are biased with a leftist agenda, sir. Yeah, exactly. It's really stupid. Like, ultimately, I got really mad at that person because I do yell at CNN all the fucking time. And that dumbass hasn't been in here to recognize that, I guess. Just like he hasn't recognized that at the top of the hour, there's a 3-minute ad break. You know what I mean? But if you're in here long enough, you will inevitably understand. I do not like CNN. I shit on them all the time. And also, at the top of the hour, there is a 3-minute ad break. If you no longer want to see those ads, all you need to do is subscribe, which you can do for $5 or free with Twitch Prime by connecting your Amazon Prime account to your Twitch account, where you get 1 free Prime subscription a month. Use it on your favorite broadcaster. Hopefully that's me. You can also get gifted a sub if you're lucky. Like Ken of Meerkat. Thank you for the 5. 34 MKD 50. Thank you for the 50 gifted subs. Here's the 3-minute ad break now.
On a position, and they've attacked that right, not just for President Trump, but for everyone.
Lise, do you expect the defense during this particular defense during trial, or is this just for the court of public opinion? I mean, what would the best defense be?
Oh, no, that's absolutely going to be a theme. And by the way, is that lawyer reading from Jack Smith's indictment? Because he says that right in the indictment. He says Trump has the right to say, you know, I'm angry, I don't like this, whatever. That's our First Amendment right. That's right there in the indictment. But what Smith says, though, is Trump went beyond that, right, in trying to orchestrate the overthrow, basically, of the election. And you can't do that. I mean, any 5th grader knows that. So, you know, of course he's going to use that. That's going to be a theme. I think the more prevalent theme, should this go to trial before the election, which is, of course, what they're trying to not have happen, defense lawyers, is going to be a jury nullification. In other words, hey, jury, you've heard all of this, you've heard all of the evidence, but vote with your heart. Let the man go. Don't vote with the evidence. Jury nullification.
Has he done? Have you considered putting up a scrolling chyron like Fox News did? That way, chatters won't be asking for news cover you covered already. No, I don't want to do that. It's too much work. And also, it's irrelevant because, dude, let me explain something to you. I'll be always looking at that damn phone. Suck my dick. Nobody gift this fucking person. Take a week off. Couple things. One, the jury nullification thing is actually important, and I think Legal Eagle has a video on it. We can watch that. I do want to watch that. I am waiting for the Legal Eagle coverage on the latest round of drops. That's number one. Most relatable streamer. No, it's just like the other thing. Responding to the other person who was like, why don't you make a ticker, like a chyron, that is like constantly fucking rolling under the screen? Dog. How many times do I just like say words that come out of my mouth as chatters get the exact opposite inference? How many times do chatters come in here and go, hey, are you covering Trump arrested, 3rd indictment, pleaded not guilty yet? While it's on the screen. You think chatters are like looking at information that is on the screen? No. All I would do in that situation is just make this additional chyron that not a single fucking person would read and would still consistently say, What's going on? Have you covered Trump arrested in third indictment, pleaded not guilty? It would just be a waste of screen space. Exactly. And it would just be annoying still, because then I'd be yelling about how it's on the Chiron. Why don't you look at the Chiron over and over again? The best possible thing I could do is just not respond to chatters who ask these questions, unless they get really fucking, annoying.
Is going to be a common theme along with the First Amendment.
38 Democratic lawmakers are appealing to the federal judge who's going to oversee this case, asking the trial to be televised despite rules prohibiting that. But judges can make decisions on this. This is what the letter reads in part, quote, given the historic nature of the charges brought forth in these cases, it's hard to imagine a more powerful circumstance for televised proceedings. Our CNN team was in the courtroom yesterday. Evan Perez joins us now. Evan, good morning. The next hearing is soon, August 28th. And that is when the judge who's going to oversee the whole trial is going to set a trial date, right?
That's right. Poppy, the judge, Tanya Chutkan, has already signaled that come August 28th, she wants to set a hearing. She's given the Trump team and the prosecution 7 days each for them to brief and provide information for their preferences, and then she will set a date, and that is really fast. For instance, in Miami, where the former president is also facing charges related to the Mar-a-Lago classified documents, we spent a month just waiting for Walt Nauta, his co-defendant, to be arraigned. And so you can see that this is a court that we've seen this repeatedly in the January 6 cases. We've seen these judges set quick trial dates. They want to try to adjudicate these cases, and they say one reason for that is because they believe that these people should face justice. Everybody involved in January 6 should face justice before the next election and try to prevent that from happening again in the next one. And so what we anticipate is, as you heard there from John Lauro, the former president's attorney, we expect that he is going to raise a lot of issues. He already raised them in court yesterday. He said this is...
Would I love it for it to be televised? What do you think? I mean, that is like... I think there's a legitimate defense that you can... there's a legitimate argument you can make as to why that should be televised, because it absolutely is like a matter pertaining to the public. Half the fucking court case revolves around Trump knowingly and willingly defrauding the American public, right? But fuck all that. The real reason why I want it is because content, baby. I want that so fucking bad. Call me selfish. I don't give a shit. It is a crime for that kind of content to not be content. I would come. I actually would. Oh, God, I'd be too stimulated. Dozens of House Democrats have asked the policymaking body for federal courts to allow live broadcasting of the court proceedings. Oh, my God, this is the only good thing that Democrats have ever done. Oh, my God. Oh, my God. Be careful what you wish for. Trump will capture the airtime just like he did in 2016. We know how that turned out. Oh, my God. Bro, I'm not even kidding. This is the one time that the Democrats are pulling through. It makes everything worth it. It's crazy. It's never going to happen, but it would be sick. Oh, God, I would lose my mind. It's such a win-win for everybody.
It's a very complicated case. He believes that we have a lot of issues that have to be litigated. He also pointed out that the special counsels had 2.5 years to investigate.
Yeah, it's like it's criminal misconduct. How sexy the fucking court portrait photographer is making him look. Okay, we need to see him disheveled. We need to see him not looking like a sexy anime character. Okay. What did they get fucking Ben Garrison to do the cartoons? Like, he just looks good. I don't like that. I don't like that at all. There you go. I put my fucking lib hat on for a second. We need this. We need this information. We need this information. I need it so fucking bad. Oh, I need it.
This matter, and that they're going to have a lot of discovery to go through before they can even get ready to trial. He's raised the possibility that this could take, and this could be a 9 to 12 month trial. Of course, the judge will make the final decision with the understanding, of course, that they want to make sure the former president has a fair trial. Yesterday in court, I'll tell you briefly, you know, he sat there, he seemed not very, very pleased about something that was given to him, some of the paperwork that was given to him. He and Jack Smith had clear sights on each other. Several times they looked at each other, which is very different from the previous proceeding in Miami, where they could not really have straight sight lines at each other. Poppy?
That's really interesting. So few people get to be in the courtroom, and you were there, you got to see all of that.
Every year since 1896, the loser of the U.S. presidential election has made a very public concession.
Do you think the Trump trial live on TV would beat January 6th viewership? No. I'm afraid that I guess it's like not. I don't know. I don't think that we will get numbers like that ever again. The reason why I'm saying that is because I think January 6th came at the culmination, like at the climax of 4 years of endless coverage. Have you got the matching watch to the hat, Haas? No, of course not. This was a free hat. I'm not a big watch guy, though. That's the only reason, like I've said. January 6th is mid-COVID. It's happening. It's like 4 years of people being basically 4 years of people being completely glued to the screen. Everyone cares about politics. An election cycle has ended, and everyone is wondering what everyone's wondering what Donald Trump will do. And then that happens. Like it was a perfect storm. Imagine Rolex selling caps. I think some, like, ironic because the Kai stuff happened, but we're planning on doing like a pop-up shop for the John Brown merchandise with a collaboration for Reconstruct. And this morning, my friend at Reconstruct Studios made these cut and sew merchandise where he took like all of the John Brown merch and made like cut and sew reconstructed pieces. Came to drop it off. And he said that his friend made these for like a golf event or something. And I was like, oh, I like it. Goes with my outfit. And he's like, yeah, you can take it. Yeah.
Concession speech. That is until 2020. Donald Trump lost the election, but refused to concede to Joe Biden, breaking a 124-year-old streak. Didn't attend inauguration either. Now, to be clear, there's no legal requirement that the loser must concede. But Trump is accused of going much further than that. He's now been charged with plotting to stay in office, raising questions about the strength of American democracy, which depends on a peaceful transition of power. Joining us now, presidential historian and Pulitzer Prize-winning best-selling author Doris Kearns Goodwin. Thanks so much for joining us. Is there any analog to this moment? Just to start 30,000 foot, what can we compare this to in American history?
Yeah, the only moment we really can compare it to, the only other time that the peaceful transition of power was not realized is 1860. And one of the things Lincoln said about that was, so what happens? The South loses the election, the Democratic Party loses to the Republican Party in the South, and they decide they're going to secede from the Union. They will not accept that loss. And Lincoln said, if we allow that to stand, this is the central issue that their struggle is really about, then democracy will be considered an absurdity. Ordinary people cannot govern themselves. The only other time, and every other time, the person who lost, and what's so important about even playing those clips as you did, is to show the human emotions that are involved. A person's been in an election for months. They're exhausted. They're so sad at losing. I mean, one of the things that Carter said when he was in his concession speech, I promised I wouldn't lie to you, but I can't lie. I must tell you now, I'm really hurt. This is hard. But on the other hand, I accept that I have lost. And he said, I've been a great chance to have some shaping of the destiny of our country, no man can ask for more. I congratulate the winner. I mean, we've needed that time and time again. It's what democracy is about. You know, you can either vote the guys in or you can throw them out. And the guy who loses has to be able to accept it with.
So school.
Let's watch some Ron DeSantis crowd work, for the love of Christ. I hate this. Historian, Trump trial could be the most important in U.S. history. Okay, dude.
Joining me now.
Okay, listen. It's just like double dick suck from all different angles here. It's fucking annoying.